How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another preseason FPL video. And today, we're going to be taking a look at the final batch, or at least we think, of prices for the 22-23 FPL season. Just the 5 teams left, and we'll run through them and see what type of prices they've given us today. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so you can get the content as soon as it's readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from price reveals, well, at least the last of them, to injury news and transfer news and anything in between, as well as give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams, as well as our FPL is live stream. Hopefully that will be tomorrow, because they've done the price reveal for all the teams. Might as well just release the game. They've also updated the profiles as well, so you can change your password and do your two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication. I got my words mixed up there, but it's very important because they're making you reset your password, because there was a lot of hacks last season as well. So it's very, very important. So go get that set up before you start making your team and forget completely about it. I've already done it myself. It's very, very important. I have two-factor. I can't get those words out. Two-factor authentication for basically everything that has a login that has it available to it. So make sure to check that out. But hopefully that'll be sometime tomorrow. I'm going to try to get on as early as I can for that stream. So make sure to stay tuned in for that, which is why it's important to follow us on all the socials. So without further ado, let's check out those last remaining price reveals. So you might be thinking, why am I starting off with a little table? Well, for whatever reason, Crystal Palace, which was one of the 5 teams today, they didn't do a video. They just put a list of the prices, so we can run through them. Guaita at 4.5 million, kind of expected. I would expect Sam Johnston, who also went to Palace as well, I believe on a permanent deal, will probably be 4.5 million. Mitchell, Gahey, Anderson, all at 4.5 million. Tompkins is a very interesting one at 4 million. If he's playing game in, game out, then potentially he could be involved as a 4 million playing defender. Potentially unlikely though, because Gahey and Anderson were the mainstay at center back, but if a system change or something like that, he could be influential as a 4 million defender. Very, very important. Will Hughes at 5 million, not really an FPL asset, but these prices I do like. Eze, Elise, Edward, and Mateta all at 5.5 million. Very, very nice prices there, although Palace's fixtures in the first 9 or so are not great. I think they play like the big 6, as it were, the greedy 6, in the first 9 game weeks, which isn't great. But after that could be our budget enabler swap. So like you start off with like Pedro Neto, who's coming at 5.5 million. You could potentially go to Eze afterwards, or Elise, whichever one seems to be playing more as well. And then Wilfred Zaha, another one who's been, I think he's 7 million for the last 5 years or something like that. And he's always provided decent enough value and will most likely be on penalties as per usual. So Palace probably one to keep an eye on mainly, and see how well they do, if they struggle or if they do well in the opening set of fixtures. Moving on to the team that was actually first announced today, which is Spurs. And we can see right off the bat, Harry Kane comes in at 11.5 million, the same price as Erling Haaland. So it is possible to do the Kane in game week 1, switch to Haaland in game week 2. So you can get the Kane Southampton at home fixture, and then get Haaland's at home to Bournemouth in game week 2. So definitely on the cards, and I think they kind of did that. And if we look at the next player, which you can probably guess who it is, it's Heung-min Son. He was on the thumbnail, and I forgot to pause it there. Let's rewind it back a little bit. Basically the De Bruyne and Haaland combo, literally the exact same. 12 million for the midfielder, 11.5 for the forward. I think personally this is fine. In De Bruyne's case, I think probably less so, just because he's not like Son, where he kind of plays in the front 3, and will probably be playing more in central midfield. He won't be on penalties because of the fact that Haaland's going to take them. Son was never on penalties and still tied in the golden boot race. So I think Son's price is definitely justified. I think his 12 million is probably fine. I think they could have easily priced Haaland slightly lower than Kane, just because of, well, he's never been in the Premier League before. And De Bruyne, I think at 12 million is too expensive. So if they were to put De Bruyne at like 11, 11.5, and then Haaland at 10.5, 10, then it might have been probably better pricing on that front. I think Son's price, he's proven. Kane's price, he's proven. I think Kane should be less than Son because Son scores more points than Kane does. And Son typically does well throughout the whole season, where Kane can kind of start slow and then depends on the latter, like 75% of the season, to pick it up and do well. And we'll see how Kane plays in a full season under Antonio Conte. If he keeps dropping deep and is getting more assists than goals, and Son's going to be the goal scorer, then Son's price is definitely going to be justified. Also, Son took a few very good free kicks for his national team as well, which I saw floating around on Twitter. And maybe he's going to be on some free kicks potentially this season, which will be interesting to see as well. So I think both those prices are fine. Unfortunately, I don't think a lot of teams are going to have Son in it because Salah, Haaland, some of the defenders with good prices, just I don't think there's any place to fit Son in at the moment. We will see later on in the season. Maybe just Kane because it's easier to swap to Haaland, or if you want, let's say, Son and then to De Bruyne, you could do that as well. But I think probably Kane to Haaland is going to probably be a bit more favorable. Because Haaland is going to be the new and attractive shiny toy. Ivan Perisic at 5.5 million. I made a joke about this on Twitter to think that he was going to come in at 5.5 million. And he did, actually, which is weird. But 5.5 million, if he's starting most games, I mean, that could be an absolute steal. Perisic under Antonio Conte was very, very successful in Inter Milan. It's just how many games will he play? Could this be a risk at the beginning of the season? Very possible. But it could also be very, very good as well. Spurs, again, with the opening Southampton fixture, then play Chelsea, and then their fixtures get a little bit easier after that. But the Southampton home and 5.5 million, if he's going to be your 4/fit defender, I think that's probably fine, to be honest. Because if you're looking, you're like, you got Trent, you got Cancelo, you got Reece James or Chilwell, maybe even both, potentially, is what I'm looking at. And then you got Perisic. I think that's perfectly fine because name a bunch of 5.5 midfielders that are going to outscore him if he's playing game in, game out for a Spurs team that's going to keep some clean sheets. He's going to get his attacking returns. He's a fantastic deliverer of the ball. Will most likely take a lot of set pieces as well, if I had to guess, like corners and indirect free kicks because of how good his delivery is. It just seems like a no-brainer to me personally. The only factor would be potentially, I believe he's 33 now. So he's starting to get up in age. Potentially, the wingback role could take a toll on him in the Premier League, specifically, as he's not played in the Premier League. That would be my only concern. But if he looks fine and he's playing game in, game out, and he plays on Antonio Conte the way he wants him to play, and he's doing well, I think he's going to be a great FPL asset. So, one on the radar for sure, and is a great 4/fit defender if you're going heavy at the back. Lloris at 5.5 million. He's 0.5 more than Mendy. I expect Ederson to be the same as well, considering Alisson is 5.5 million. But then you look at some of the other defenders. So Dyer and Romero, you're probably not going to look there personally at 5 million. Just doesn't make sense. When Doherty, who's most likely going to be the starting right-sided wing-back, unless Jed Spence comes in, which then that could change some things up. But if any point Perisic were to get injured, Sessegnon at 4.5 million could be a steal as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. He's also a defender as well. So again, Conte does like to substitute his wingbacks and quite likes to rotate them a bit. But if somebody's playing so well, like how Sessegnon was at the end of last season, how Perisic has played for Inter Milan under Antonio Conte, and how Doherty was playing before his injury, they could just be undroppable at times. And then there's just no point in swapping things out and changing things. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. I think I'm probably going to end up starting with Perisic. Doherty's definitely a potential look in if they don't get Jed Spence, who's rumored to be going there as well. Bentancur and Højbjerg at 5.5 million. I just don't think they're really worth it at that price. And then Kulusevski at 8 million. Now they brought in Richarlison, who typically plays off the left or through the middle. So maybe it's covered there. I'm not sure if Lucas Moura is on his way out, but we know that Steven Bergwijn has been linked back to Ajax, which would alleviate one player on the right-hand side. So maybe Lucas Moura is going to be like the foil on like the right-hand side, and then you have Richarlison through the middle or on the left-hand side to kind of give players a bit of a rest. We saw that Son and Kulusevski were prone to being substituted under Conte as well. So again, potentially one to look out for. But right now, I don't think Kulusevski at 8 million is going to be in most teams. I think a lot of managers are going to go for Diaz or Foden or Mahrez or Saka or somebody like that to open up the season. Moving on to the next team that was announced was Leicester. So if we take a look here, we have James Maddison, another 8 million midfielder. I think this is a fine price for James Maddison. I would have liked to see him coming at 7.5 million, but if they're just going to put everyone at 8 million, probably James Maddison would have been the one. Jamie Vardy, 9.5 million. Very, very nice price for Jamie Vardy. If Leicester have one game a week and he's fully fit, he could be fantastic value. As a note, he's 2 million less than Haaland. He's 1 million less than Ronaldo, who is at this point going to look like he's going to leave United. But Vardy playing game in, game out could be quite good. With the frequent substitutions, though, he might be more prone to rotation, as in not getting the full 90 minutes in a game. You might see him go 60 minutes, 60 minutes, 60 minutes, but Jamie Vardy's so good that if he has a good run of fixtures where he's playing against a bunch of teams that are kind of rubbish or in the bottom half of the table, Jamie Vardy could be the man at 9.5 million. Then you have Harvey Barnes, 7 million. So a big gap between him and Maddison, a full 1 million. And he kind of fits in the same role as the likes of Jack Grealish. That 7 million midfielder could be potentially an option. I think Leicester have Brentford to open up at the beginning of the season. Leicester defensively will probably have to improve. Whether Barnes gets the minutes, though, has always been the worry. So we'll have to wait and see. And he was always prone to being hooked as well around the 60-minute mark. So maybe gets hooked even more often now that there's 5 subs. So he might be a wait and see. Looking at the rest of the Leicester assets, though, Schmeichel at 5 million, I think is fair enough. But you're probably just going to look at Fofana and then probably more so James Justin and Ricardo Pereira at 4.5 million. Those do look like very good prices if they're playing game in and game out. James Justin could be playing at wingback as well, which would make him even better of an FPL asset if it looks like, you know, the likes of one of your more expensive, you know, wingbacks to start the season isn't looking great. You can always downgrade to someone like a Justin at 4.5 million. It's easier to go down than it is to go up. Dewsbury Hall, 5 million. I mean, that's a whatever price, to be honest. Yuri Tielemans, 6.5 million, just a standard kind of midfielder. He's going to be like Odegaard. He's going to get points here and there, but not really going to be an FPL asset. And then Daka and Iheanacho, if, you know, there's an injury crisis up front for Leicester and you get one of these guys in at 6 or 6.5 million, could be fantastic value. But again, they're going to be more of a bench option unless Rodgers strictly sticks to like a 3-5-2, in which case you probably want Justin, who's going to play at wing back somewhere, and you're probably going to want one of these guys who's going to be cheaper than Vardy as well. So that is Leicester. Let's move on to the second last team that they posted today, which was Everton. Now, this is the biggest disappointment, I think, alongside Patrick Bamford with the prices and in terms of like just how overly priced they are. Calvert-Lewin at 8 million. So Calvert-Lewin was 7.5 million, I believe, last season. He was injury prone, wasn't very good when he did play, and they bumped him up to 8 million. Just doesn't make sense to me. Really, really doesn't make sense. If Antonio comes in at 7.5, same for Wilson, same for Watkins, why is he 8 million? It just does not make sense. So basically, just don't even look at Calvert-Lewin unless Everton are absolutely ripping it up, which I think they could be struggling again this year. So not really much more to say on that. Jordan Pickford, 4.5 million, could be a good budget option, but I think there's better 4.5 million goalkeepers that probably rack up more points if they stay fit and have better defenses in front of them, like Sanchez, like Raya, and potentially like Dean Henderson if Forest are very good defensively. Anthony Gordon, we expected this price hike. 5.5 million, I think, is a fair price for him. Again, a budget midfielder, not really delivering FPL-wise, but could be improved as he is a younger player and potentially provide more FPL value, as it were. Seamus Coleman, Tarkowski, Mikalenko, all 4.5 million. I think that's very good pricing, to be honest. Personally, I think that the wingbacks or fullbacks should be 5 million. But in Everton's case, they were so bad defensively that maybe just put them all at 4.5 and then you can pick and choose. Into midfield, they've just put everyone at 5.5 million, which I think is probably about right, to be honest. Maybe you could have put Doucouré at 5 million just because he's more of a box-to-box and not really a out and out wide player or like a number 10 like Ali and Iwobi were playing, Gray playing potentially in the front two or out wide, maybe that's probably slight pricing on there, but I don't think anyone's going near Everton assets anytime soon. So unfortunately, it doesn't matter how cheap they are, I'm not sure they're going to be looking as good as what we would like them to be, just based on their form from last season. And plus, with the cheapness of all the players in like the big six teams, I mean, Rashford's only 1 million more than Iwobi, as an example, which is just crazy to think about. Moving on to Nottingham Forest, the last team that was announced, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. I want to say it's Awoniyi. He's 6 million. He's their new signing. I think he's their record club signing. If I butchered up his name, I apologize. I am terrible with pronouncing names sometimes. And yeah, he could be quite good. I mean, he's the same as Solanke. He's apparently highly touted, so we will see how he goes. This one is definitely a wait and see. I think that's the same for all promoted teams, as they don't have the greatest starts. Also, Johnson as well comes in. He was fantastic in their road to getting 3rd place overall, as well as being the last spot to come through in the playoffs. 6 million again. If they're going to play out front together in a front two, it makes sense. Johnson typically playing off, like kind of favoring one of the flanks in that front two, so you might see him like cutting in. He does like to make runs in behind. He's very technically very good, very quick, so he could be very good on the counterattack, which Forest might be playing a lot of against tougher opposition, so I would say keep an eye on him. And then weirdly, Forest didn't really put anyone else other than the 4 players, so they have a couple of defenders, a couple of midfielders, and a forward. Surich was one of the forwards last season, but he might be demoted to like more of a bench role. Again, not really anything appealing here, to be honest, so not really much else to say on Worrell, Mighton, Yates, and Surge, to be honest. We have so many other cheaper players in better teams, more proven teams that, okay, maybe they might have a 4 million defender that might be out of position, which you might think about, but again, we won't know that until potentially the game releases and we see more from preseason. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. That's it for the price reveals. That's all of them, most likely. The game is probably going to be released sometime tomorrow, maybe on Wednesday. And if it's not on Wednesday, then I don't know when it's going to be, because it just makes sense. They've done all the price reveals, so we'll have to wait and see. But let me just think down in the comments below. What was your favorite price reveal? What player are you most interested in at their price? Let me know what you think, and make sure to follow us on all the platforms so you can get all the content as soon as it is readily available, because we got a lot coming for the 22-23 FPL season. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Scout members area, the one place that you need to be tuned into for the upcoming FPL season. It has a wide variety of resources and tools that will help improve your FPL game today. It has a bunch of different members-only articles written by some of the best FPL managers across the globe, heat maps for all the players and positions, as well as player comparison tools, which will help you see side by side who is going to be more effective for your FPL team, fully customizable stats tables powered by Opta stats, and much, much more. Use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to the Fantasy Football Scout members area today. It'll help improve your FPL game. This video has been sponsored by Manscape, the best in male below-the-waist grooming. Make sure to check out manscape.com so you can see the latest and greatest updates to their lawnmower, as well as their performance package, and much, much more for all their gadgets and gizmos to help keep your family jewels looking as shiny as ever. Make sure to use the code FLAME20 so that you can get 20% off your next Manscaped order, as well as free worldwide shipping. Go check out manscaped.com today. And that is going to do it for the last batch, or what we think is the last batch of price reveals for the 22-23 FPL season. The next time we see prices will be on the official site. Hopefully it is tomorrow. Fingers crossed. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe channel if you are new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from transfer news to new stuff about position changes or anything really, because no more price reveals. and anything in between. And lastly, make sure to give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. We will be doing a stream when FPL does go live the evening of it when it happens. So if it happens tomorrow lunchtime, when I get home or when I'm next really available, I will do a stream and I will make a post about it beforehand so that you guys know when I will be going live for them. We'll take a look at all the prices. We'll look at our spreadsheet that we made for our previous videos as well and see what prices we got right and what prices we got wrong. And make sure to check out Fantasy Football Scout this season as well, because they're fantastic and they've been partnering us again for the next year of Fantasy Premier League. So thank you to them, and they will be providing you with a brand new look on the members area and much more to come in there. So make sure to check out the link in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.